In this video, we talk about installing the Revit add-in and synchronizing your data from Revit to DeepSpace. The last couple of videos, we've talked about the sign-up process and getting you started on your first project. But now comes a really important step. How do I get the data from Revit to DeepSpace? So in this video, we want to cover 5 really important steps. 1, it's the sync license. 2, installing the add-in. 3, we want to talk about configuring the sync and then synchronizing the data. And then lastly, we want to talk about setting up a scheduler to automatically harvest the data from Revit to DeepSpace without us having any input at all. So before we get started, let's talk about the sync license. So there are 2 types of licenses with DeepSpace. There's a viewer license and there's a sync license. The difference there is that some users are going to be responsible for synchronizing the data to DeepSpace, whereas others are just going to be viewing the data in the web app. So there's an important difference. If you need multiple people synchronizing the data from Revit to DeepSpace, you might need to look at Explorer Plus, which enables 5 sync licenses and 25 viewers. We've designed DeepSpace to be a collaborative platform. So you want to get it set up from the start where you've got the right amount of people synchronizing the data or viewing the data. So once you've initiated your project in DeepSpace, we'll send you the details for your sync license. For us right now, we've downloaded our installer and we're about to install it on our PC. So I'm going to hit next and install. And then I'm going to exit Revit and retry and install this. So I've finished installing. So now I'm going to open Revit and go to my Quilliam station, our Vulcan hospital in beta quadrant. So this federated file on BIM 360 is just a container file linking in all of the consultants models. So we're going to open that up. Okay, our file is open and we've got our DeepSpace tab. So the first thing we're going to do is configure. And we're going to log in here using my sync license. And we pick our workspace, and so in this case we're working for Holodeck Constructions, and we're going to pick our project, the Quilliam station. Now in this configurator we have our files and our linked files, and then we're going to register them in DeepSpace. We also assign a discipline. So this is a federated file, so it's going to be a coordination file. There's our architectural model. We have 2 architectural models. Now we have a mechanical file. And lastly, we have a structural model. Now we've got 2 other things to configure, the control file and the room defining files. So a control file is, if you like, the benchmark that we're going to set the other files against. So in this project, we do have a control file. So if you can imagine, we're going to set grids and levels in that control file, and then every other model is going to be compared against that control file. So think, for example, your coordinate system. And so the other thing to do here is configure the room defining files. I've got 2 architectural files. They've both got rooms in it, and they're going to help me with my spatial detection. And that's all the configuring I need to do. So now all that is left is to synchronize the data. Now when we sync from Revit to DeepSpace, we've got a couple of options, whether we want to process all the spatial detection and all the annotation elements as well. Now these are going to slow down the sync because it's going to pull more data out of Revit. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to engage. And that's all I have to do to start syncing the data. So while we're uploading our data to DeepSpace, it's important to note that we can keep working away. So I'm going to park this over here and I continue to work on my project. And also while we're uploading data to DeepSpace, I'm going to talk about the scheduler. So the scheduler is great because I can automatically start harvesting the data from this federated model without ever having to open it up. I can set this up to run on a Tuesday, Thursday, and a Sunday at midnight. I can pick my spatial detection and my parameter annotations, and I can automatically run that without ever having to open it up. So I'm going to hit save and run that scheduler. So that's going to automatically harvest the data. So there you go. We've talked about the sync license. We've installed our add-in and configured it for the project. We've synced our data from Revit to DeepSpace, and we've also set up a scheduler so that we never have to worry about it anymore. So in the next video, we're going to see what happens when we've finished uploading our data. We're also going to log back into our project, and we're going to talk about the project home dashboards.